All right, you should have the handouts that we gave you in class that are gold colored to take these notes on. It looks like this. We're going to start on the one that says standard form at the top. So the function or the equation for standard form goes ax plus by equals c. And we use standard form for real life situations when you know two different rates and a fixed amount. That's the most common type of situation where we would write a standard form equation. There are some other possible situations, but this is the most common. And so if it was this case, then A would be like the first rate, so rate 1. B would tell us rate 2. And C would be the fixed amount. And x and y would be the variables that we'd be solving for. So an example of that is you are purchasing plants and have $30 to spend. So I'm going to underline that 30. Small plants cost $2 each and large plants cost $6 each. So the $2 each, that's a rate, and the $6 each, that's a rate. The $30 is like the fixed amount. And these are rates. Okay, so if I was going to put this information into an equation, first I need to define what my variables are. So I'm going to have two variables, x and y. We can use other letters instead of x and y, but then it gets a little bit confusing as far as how to graph them, like which one's the x, which one's the y. So for now, I'm going to stick with x and y. And so x is going to be, I usually have x be whatever the first thing that comes up is. So small plants cost $2 each. So x has something to do with the small plants. It's not the price of them because I know that. That's $2 each. It's going to be the number of small plants that we could buy. So x will equal number of small plants, and y will be the number of large plants. So if we write an equation, we can say 2x, because it's $2 for every small plant, so 2 times the number of small plants, plus 6 times the number of large plants, because it's $6 for every large plant, equals $30 total. So this right here, the 2x, this altogether represents the total cost for small plants. The 6y is representing the total cost for large plants. And if I add the total cost for small plants plus the total cost for large plants, that equals the 30, which is the total cost for all plants. Or we could say for both types of plants. Okay, so if I wanted to graph this equation by finding the x and y intercept, we have a spot to show our work here. So the x-intercept, write yourself a little note, is when y equals 0. X-intercepts are always when y is 0. So we plug 0 in for y. So our equation was 2x plus 6y equals 30. So I'm going to say 2x plus 6 times 0 equals 30. And then I solve that equation. So 2x plus 6 times 0. 6 times 0 is just 0. So it's the same as 2x equals 30. And then I divide by 2. I get x equals 15. And hopefully you have a little bit of room at the bottom to write a tiny bit more. I want to write this as a point also. So this would be the point 15, comma 0. 15 is the x, 0 is the y. That means if you buy 0 large plants, you could buy 15 small plants. So let's write that down. If you buy 0 large, you can buy 15 small plants. Okay, for the y-intercept, that is when x is 0. So we're going to plug in 0 for x. So I'm going to go back up so I can see my equation. So it'll be 2 times 0 plus 6y equals 30, which is the same as just 6y equals 30. Divide by 6, and we get y equals 5. That is the point 0, 5. And the meaning of that is if you buy 0 small, you can buy 5 large plants. Okay, so let's go to the next side of your notes with the other little handout. It looks like this, graph from intercepts. So my intercepts, since I don't have that page right in front of my face to look at, it was 15, 0, and 0, 5. So our graph doesn't go out as far as we need to on the x, so let's extend it. So this is going to go out. We need to go out to 15, so this would be about 12, about 14. So 15 would be right here. And I'm going to label this as my x-axis represents the number of small plants, and my y-axis is going to be the number of large plants. We could have done it differently and had x be large and y be small, and our graph would look slightly different, but it would give us all the same information. So let's go ahead and graph our two intercepts. So 15, 0 is right here, and 0, 5 is right here. And then to graph the line, we just connect them with a line and put arrows on, although we know it won't really go on forever. So actually, in this case, I don't think we don't need the arrows. I'm going to, because this is a real life situation that there's not going to be negative plants. So mine's not perfectly straight, but hopefully you can use a straight edge at home. So there's our graph. The next section says convert to slope-intercept form. So our equation was 2x plus 6y equals 30. If I want to convert it to slope-intercept form, that means I have to get y by itself, because slope-intercept form is the one that goes y equals mx plus b. So if I can get y by itself, then I'll have it in slope-intercept form. So to get y by itself, first thing I want to do is subtract 2x on both sides. So that's going to be 6y equals 30 minus 2x cannot be simplified, so I just leave it as 30 minus 2x. And then last step is divide everything by 6. So I'm going to get 6y divided by 6 is just 1y, so I just write y equals 30 divided by 6 is 5. And then I can reduce 2 over 6 to 1 over 3. And then I can just put the x after it. I don't have to have the x on top of the fraction bar, although you can. But now I can tell this is my y-intercept at 5, which matches what we got earlier when we found the y-intercept. And then the negative 1/3 is my slope. So I can graph from that equation, starting at 0, 5 at the y-intercept, and then I'm going to go down 1 to the right 3, because my slope is negative 1/3. So down 1 over 3 to the right. And I'm going to actually extend a little bit more just so I can see how these match. So down 1, 1, 2, 3, down 1, 1, 2, we got right there. And that would be at 15. So I get the exact same line when I graph it after converting to slope-intercept form as I did when I just found the x and the y-intercept. So at the bottom of your page, hopefully you have a tiny bit of room to write this. That's right. We know 2 ways to graph from standard form. The first way is to find the x and y intercepts. And that's when we make that little t-chart usually with the zeros. We put in 0 for x and 0 for y. And then the second way is to convert to slope-intercept form. And that's when you make it a y equals equation. Each of these is better in some cases than the other. Sometimes finding the x and y intercepts are messy, and sometimes they're really easy, so it just depends on the equation which one you want to do. But it's important to know how to do both ways. So that is it for your notes today. And then in class, we will practice this.